Evening, everybody. Jerry Teabag Hack here. Hockey books and storytellers with Teabag and Tone. And I got to hear this part.
Where'd you get the gun, John?
Where'd you get the gun, John? I love that part. Playing the Guess Who, Rain Dance for your listening pleasure. And the reason I'm playing that will become apparent in a minute or two. YouTube has a policy where you can't monetize your channel. You can't make any money off it until you get enough content. You know, you got to have enough hours watched and views and likes and all that great stuff. So I've decided I'm going to do a book review every week. And I want to thank everybody who commented on the last video I did, some constructive criticism. They wanted me to lift the camera up a bit, so I'm looking into the camera a little bit more. They want to see my eyes and not my eyelids, which is, I don't understand that at all. But yeah, and they said that I do the and a lot. So I'm gonna, if my speech is a little bumpy on this video, it's because I'm thinking about it. I'm trying not to do the and. So thank you everybody for reaching out and making comments, and I really appreciate that. So this week I've got a book that was sent to me from author named Doug Savage. It's called My New Hero: Memories of the Rink Rats, written with John Davidson, not the NHL goalie, general manager, president John Davidson, different John Davidson, local guy, Vancouver guy. And Mr. Davidson has recently passed away. I was very sad to learn, but Doug Savage has graciously agreed to come on to the podcast sometime in the fall. So we'll be looking forward to that, talking to him and asking him about how he came, how this book came to be. And being born and raised, the book was released in 2014, almost 10 years ago, 9 years ago. So I'm surprised I haven't heard of it till now, but he was born in Winnipeg and raised there, and became a Winnipeg Jets fan, during the time of the WHA, when they were winning championships, and they had Bobby Hall and Anders Hedberg, Ulf Nielsen playing for them. So, they had a lot of success in the WHA, but when they came into the NHL, not so much. And so the premise of the story, the underlying part of it is that he hated Gretzky. So I can relate, because I hated Gretzky too. I mean, he absolutely owned my Canucks, and I think he scored more goals against the Canucks than anybody. So but Winnipeg wasn't far behind, and so he and his friends hated Gretzky, and talked about how every year, seemed the Oilers and the Jets would meet in the playoffs, and the Oilers would sweep them. Jets wouldn't even win a game. So, they just absolutely hated Gretzky. And then through a twist of fate, he actually gets to meet Gretzky, and Gretzky turns out to be not such a bad guy after all. And you can tell on the cover here, that silhouette, there's no mistaking it. That is Gretzky. And so that Gretzky became his new hero. And that's the underlying tone of it. But there are many other stories, and I'll just tell you a couple of my favorites, because they're pretty good. I won't give too much away, but the first one is him and his friends are in the arena and wandering around, and they end up in the referee's room. And this is before the game, and they barge in on the referees, and the referees are drinking from a whiskey bottle. When I get him on the podcast, I'm gonna ask him if he remembers what referee it was, because I would really like to know. So that's a good story. And then the other one is the Winnipeg score clock had it was old school, and it just had numbers that went in slots, and him and his friends figured out a way to steal the numbers out of the score clock. So security guards could never ever figure out how they were doing it, and years later, one of the rink rats ran into one of the security guards' sons, and so they told him the story, and they said, "Yeah, they could never figure out how you guys who was doing it." And now, so that was a very comical. And it has a lot more stories like that. How they got sticks, and on the back of the book, there's a picture of about 25 Gretzky, you know, uh, what were they, TPM 2020 Titan sticks, and they're all game used, and they have Gretzky on them. So quite the collection there. He talks about a fellow named Sean Chalk who has one of, if not the largest Gretzky collection. So there's a couple of pictures in it. It's quite impressive. So it's a short read, 142 pages. Took me about 3 hours to read. It's available on Amazon. I don't remember the price, but it wasn't prohibitive. So I want to thank Mr. Savage for sending me the book, and I really enjoyed it, and it really made me laugh, and so I'm happy to give it 5 stars. So if everybody wants to pick up a copy, I'm sure Mr. Savage would appreciate it to no end. So we're gonna end up with a little Santana Black Magic Woman. Not Canadian, but hey, we'll take it. So have a good night. That's all I got for you, and we'll be talking again next Monday. I'll have a new book to read. If you have any suggestions, books you want me to review, just email me at jerryhack@hotmail.com, JERYHACK@hotmail.com. So looking forward to hearing what you have to say, and then buy this book. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye.